The time has come, and here we are again with a second review on our YouTube channel. This time we will be reviewing JustSim's rendition of Helsinki-Vantaa Airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator. In this video we will go through all different aspects of the scenery, from textures to modeling, accuracy and more. Before we start, we think it is best to mention that we have received a review copy from the developer. The video will still express our true opinion on the product, and if we do not like something, we will most certainly mention it and be clear about it. The textures around the airport are generally crisp and of a high resolution. At first glance, we did not notice any low resolution, buggy, glitchy or incorrectly placed textures in the scenery. Everything seemed to be just perfect. But we did find a few exceptions when flying around the airport in free camera mode later on. These include the strange behavior of textures on the T1 building, which are brown when you look at them from above and grey when you look at them from below, or strangely placed textures on the ground right below the air traffic control tower, for example. Besides these, the texturing work that has been done on the scenery is really good, and we did not encounter any issues with it. None of the textures located in the scenery are of low resolution or look bad or look like they should not be there. In conclusion, there is room for improvement, but if you're not a perfectionist, you will most likely not notice these small issues when casually flying into the airport. What is good to point out as well is that when we compared the ground textures with the most recent data from Google Maps imagery, it was impressive to see how accurate they were. It was clearly visible in the simulator that the taxiways and runways are not brand new and have been used for quite a while. They even had different textures for each and every material throughout the airport. As well as the textures, the modeling looked perfect at first glance. The scenery features some highly detailed models, which, in combination with the crisp textures, add a great feeling to the scenery while visiting it on your virtual journeys. It took us some time to notice small gaps between buildings that are present in the scenery. These are not visible at all when visiting the airport normally, but you will probably notice them if you explore the scenery more in depth. This is unfortunately something that should not be present in sceneries nowadays, and developers really should keep an eye on these quirks. If you leave out these small details though, the level of detail that is present in the models is really high. Even small bezels are modeled and present in the models. The scenery looks really good, and we were not once amazed to see the level of detail that is present in the scenery. Accuracy of the scenery is something we need to be very careful about. The airport has recently been renovated and some parts are still in construction, so we will try to be as objective as possible with what we could find about the airport in real life. The scenery features all recent expansions built to T2. These include the Plaza, West Pier and South Pier extensions. Expansions to Terminal 1 are also present in the scenery. These include both the gate area expansion as well as the general terminal expansion. The currently renovated parking garages in front of the terminal are in the scenery still showcased as a construction area. We did not find any recent images of the area though, so we can't really tell if it is accurate or not. In regards of the ground layout, we found the scenery to be very accurate. Airport buildings seem to be placed where they should, and the taxiways seem to be placed accurately with their markings. While flying around the airport though, we noticed a good number of missing objects, and sometimes even entire buildings. It is strange to see a bus stop on the ortho imagery but not modeled in the scenery. Not to mention how strange it looks when a huge building is missing right next to the airport. This is just something that does not look good in a payware scenery, and it does not add to the developer's reputation either. The ortho imagery that is present in the scenery is nice and looks realistic. It however does not blend in with the default ortho imagery that is present around the airport, and it looks a bit strange when you're on approach. If we should compare the default ortho imagery with the one that came with the scenery, the one that came with the scenery is a clear winner. It is anyway something that would be nice to see fixed in one of the future updates. It's a bit of a shame that the night lighting and textures are very mediocre in the scenery, and to be completely honest, we consider them to be on the lower end of mediocre. The textures that are used during the night are generally fine on buildings, however on the terminal, The window textures are of a really poor resolution and are far from what someone expects from a payware scenery. At the end you can see for yourself how they look. In regards of the lighting, it generally seems to be realistic and nice. There's only one exception, that is the gate lighting at Terminal 1. And although none of us have been at a real airport, it does seem a little too dark based on the videos that we could find online. The scenery behaves as it should when it comes to performance. We have not noticed any frame rate drops while flying into the airport and everything was running just fine. So from our point of view, JustSim has done a good job on the optimization. But we must also mention that we were running a high-end system while reviewing the product. In conclusion, the scenery offers a great level of detail, high resolution and crisp textures, accurate and detailed models, and accurate airport layout. And although you may think it is just perfect scenery from that sentence, it really isn't. While testing we came across numerous issues with the scenery, ranging from strange behavior of the textures, to missing models, to simple rookie mistakes. Even though most of these issues are just small and unimportant, you will most likely not notice them. But it does not add to the experience that you know that they are there. To summarize, we think it is a decent scenery that has both its pros and cons. We can't really tell whether you should purchase it or not, as everybody expects different things from sceneries.